The silent and reserved Shadow Guard of the Xing is the most recent 4-star character coming to the game, and he is coming alongside his boss. How funny! In this video, I will talk about everything you need to know about Moze, how he works, how to build him, who is good with him, everything. So just before the video starts, don't forget to leave your like and your sub. Also, don't forget to follow me on my Twitch. I stream a lot of times there, and you can win free blessings for the game of your choosing by watching and participating on them. You have that link and a bunch of others that can end up being useful for you in the description. So without any furthers, let's now explain Moze's kit. Moze is a 4-star lightning character that follows the path of the hunt and is focused on being a sub DPS for your teams with the use of his follow-up attacks. On his basic attack, Hurl Thorn, Moze deals lightning damage equal to a percentage of his attack to a single target enemy. When you use his skill, Fleet Wing and Raid, Moze marks a selected enemy as the prey and deals lightning damage equal to a percentage of his attack to it, and gains 9 points of charge. When there are no other characters on the field that are capable of combat, Moze cannot use his skill and dispels the enemy's prey state. On his ultimate, Dash In, Gash Out, Moze deals lightning damage equal to percentage of his attack to an enemy target, and launches his talent's follow-up attack against this same target. If the target is defeated before this follow-up attack is used, then the follow-up attack will go against a random single enemy. On his talent, Cascading Feather Blade, Moze will enter the departed state while a prey exists on the field. After allies attack the prey, Moze will additionally deal 1 instance of additional lightning damage, equal to a small percentage of his attack, and consumes 1 charge. For each 3 points of charge consumed, Moze launches 1 follow-up attack to the prey, dealing lightning damage equal to percentage of his attack. When charge reaches 0, dispels the target's prey state and resets the charge consumption count, and follow-ups will not consume charge points. And for last, on his technique, Batted Wings, Moze gains stealth for 20 seconds. While stealth is active, Moze cannot be detected by enemies, and when you attack enemies and enter combat while in this mode, the damage Moze deals will increase by 30%, lasting for 2 turns. Now that we know how Moze works, it's now time to talk about his traces and priorities to level up. On his minor traces, Moze will get a total of 37.3 crit damage, 18% attack and 10% HP, helping on improving his stats and his damage. On his first major trace, Night Feather, after using the talent's follow-up attack, Moze will recover 1 skill point, and this effect can be triggered again after 1 turn. On his second major trace, Dagger Hold, when Moze dispels his departed state, his action is advanced forward by 20%, and at the start of each wave, Moze's actions is advanced forward by 30%. And for last, on his third major trace, Vengewise, when Moze deals damage with his ultimate, it is considered as having launched a follow-up attack. Additionally, increases follow-up attack damage taken by the enemy marked as a prey by 25%. For his trace priorities, you should focus on your talent first, then your ultimate and skill with the same value, and for last his basic attacks. Now, let's talk about Moze Eidolons for those that, just like me, are thinking about making him the strongest he can be. With his E1, after entering battle, Moze regenerates 20 points of energy, and for every time an additional damage from his talent is triggered, Moze regenerates 2 points of energy. On his E2, increases crit damage inflicted by allies targets against the enemy target as prey by 40%. His E3 increases level of his ultimate and talent by 3. With his E4, after using the ultimate, the damage dealt by Moze increases by 30% for 2 turns. His E5 increases the level of his skill by 2 and the level of his basic attack by 1. And with his E6, increases the damage multiplier of the talent's follow-up attack by 25%. Now, let's talk about the best relics and planetary ornament sets you could use on your Moze. Since Moze likes crits and already applies up to 2 debuffs by himself, his best in slot set will be without any doubt Pioneer Diver or Dead Waters, because it will increase the damage dealt to enemies with debuffs by 12%, and its 4-piece effect will increase your crit rate up to 8% and your crit damage up to 24%. But since Moze is only able to inflict 2 debuffs by himself, you just need to have someone on the team to apply the 3rd debuff. If you already have a good set from Ash Blazing Grand Duke, you can also use it on your Moze, because he will be doing more follow-ups than anything other on this kit. And since this set increases your follow-up damage by 20% on its 2-piece, and give you 6% attack for every follow-up you do up to 8 stacks, and it's only removed when you take action, Moze will be able to have some stacks with him. If you were one of those who farmed the new Relic Sets preparing for the follow-up meta, you can always use the Wind Soaring Valores on your Moze. because this set provides 12% attack on its 2-piece, and its 4-piece effect will increase your crit rate by 6% and increase your ultimate damage by 36% after using a follow-up attack. And for last, you can always mix and match 2 pieces between the sets that provide damage increase to debuffed enemies, follow-up damage, attack, and lightning damage. For planar ornaments, his best in slot will be Duran Dynasty of Running Wolves, because this set will increase your follow-up damage by 5% with a max of 5 stacks every time you do a follow-up attack, and when you reach max stacks, additionally increases your crit damage by 25%. Izumu, Gensei, and Takama Divine Realm will be another good alternative if you pair Moze with another hunt character, since this set will increase your attack by 12% and your crit rate by 12% if there is another character in the team with the same type as you. And for last, Inert's also too can be a substitute while you farm for the other sets, because it will give you 8% crit rate, and if you have at least 50% crit rate, your ultimate and follow-up damage will increase by 15%. Now that you know what sets to farm, let's now talk about the stats we need to be looking for. For the chest, crit rate. For the boots, attack. For the sphere, lightning damage. And for the rope, attack. For the substats, you should focus on crits, attack, and speed if you can get it. For Moze Lightcones, his best in slot will be Dr. Ratio signature Baptism of Pure Thought, which will increase your crit damage by 20%, and will further increase your attack's crit damage by 8% up to 3 stacks for every debuff the enemy has. Additionally, for the next 2 turns after using an ultimate to attack the enemy, your damage dealt will be increased by 36% and your follow-up attacks will ignore 24% of the target's defense. Topaz signature, Worrisome Blissful, will be another good option for Moze since it will increase your crit rate by 18% and your follow-up attack damage by 30%. And applying 2 debuffs on the enemy when you use your follow-up attacks, that will increase the crit damage dealt by your attacks by a max of 24%. His best F2P option will be the Arteshop Lightcone Cruising in the Stellar Sea, which will increase your crit rate by 8% and by an extra 8% if you are against enemies with 15% or less HP. Additionally, after defeating an enemy, your attack will be increased by 20% for 2 turns. And keep in mind, this is the totally F2P Lightcone, and if you play Simulated Universe, you will be able to R5 it with time, improving even more the attack and crit rate it gives you. His best 4-star option will be Swordsplay, which will increase your damage by 8% with a max of 5 stacks for each time you attack the same target, perfectly synergizing with his kit. And for last, if you are extremely unlucky on your Lightcones, or if you already have some users for them, you can always end up using Final Victor, but I really advise you to go for one of the Lightcones I mentioned before, because this Lightcone only provides attack and crit damage, 2 things Moze will have in abundance. For Moze teams, he will be a great sub DPS for any follow-up team, being similar to Topaz, and basically considered like a free Topaz for your teams. So here are some of my options. For a Fei Xiao team, pair him with Fei Xiao, Robin, and Aventurine. For the Dr. Ratio team, pair him with Dr. Ratio, March 7 or Silver Wolf, and Gallagher or Aventurine. For a duo sub DPS team, pair him with Topaz, Robin, and Aventurine. And for an F2P team, pair her with Ratio or March 7, Pello or Tingyun, and Gallagher. Just don't forget you don't need to do these exact teams. You always have other characters that have similar functions with the ones I talked about. If you have some teams that didn't appear here and want to share them, leave your favorite teams down below in the comments for all of us to give it a look. So what's your opinion about Moze? Is he a valuable pool for your account? What do you think about him? I hope with this video you are now able to understand how he works and how you should build him. Share this video with everyone you know that got him and doesn't know how to build or play with him. If you ended up liking this video, please leave a like and a sub. Also, I stream a lot on Twitch and you are able to win some blessings there, so make sure to give it a look. A special thanks to my members for trying to support me, and thank you so much for keeping me company. Have an amazing day everyone, and good luck on your pulls.